Ja, selvfølgelig. Allez, ga là. Right. Come on, Meg. Forget it. Did. Little pot-bellied pig. Little pisser. Right, what a day. Another day. Got whiplash. Being a dish bitch. Well, anyway, all good. I've Maria. Anton. Is that Anton? Hey up, Anton. I'm all good, mate. Hope you're doing well. I see you've been putting some things on there because I need you to become a multi-millionaire because I need somebody to. Someone's got to get good. So, yeah, all good. How Debbie? Just been really reading documents from people that have had their children taken off them, and just looking more into the decks, you know, the information that have been given. None from a court, I add. And you know, when you start to look at the documents, you can see it's so plain and simple. They're not speaking to you. They're speaking to your corporation, number one, which is your legal fiction. And number two, they can even put their name down as the man that's coming to you as the counsel. You know, they don't say whether it's a Mr. or Mrs. Counsel. But you know, it's just like, you know, anything else, like it's either Nottingham County Council, Somerset County Council. You know, these are the ones that's taking you to court. You know? These are the ones that are bearing witness against you as a crime, that they're taking the children off you. It's amazing. But like I say, it's none of them state whether it's Mr. or Mrs. It's a funny name, isn't it, really? I don't know anybody that's you know, that mother would call their son or daughter, you know, Somerset County Council. Do you? It's just a funny name to me that you call a living man or a woman, but it's not living man or woman, you see. This is the game, really. When you see it for what it is, no men and women are being taken to a court, and it's no man and woman that's taken them to the court. Just like with John Patterson, you know, he said that the alleges that was taken to John Patterson to court was Katie Bourne, Gilly Jones, Ricky Dearman, DC Steve Martin, and Karen Irving. You know, it's crazy, mate, isn't it? Especially when, you know, you realise who these people are, and then you realise that it's not actually them that's taking you to court, because with John Patterson it was the Queen. You know, it's the Queen. The Queen, who John was, you know, this beautiful lady. But, you know, some will say that she's, you know, I can just give you my heart, isn't it? With all insincerity, yeah, you know, with no sincerity at all, mate. She was lying from the day she went in there. That's why she swore on the oath at the top. She signed the coronation oath at the top. Because, you know, this is what it is, guys, really. You know, when you don't know the correct process of how to write things and where to sign things, and you know, how to pronounce your name correctly, and how, you know, what words mean, what the true meaning of the words are. This is it, guys, really. That's the deception. You know, this is what it all comes down to. Don't be so quick to think you understand what's being said to you. You know, because you know full well if it's coming from any of these, and their lips are moving, you know it's a lie. You know that there's double forked tongue, just like the native Indians told us, like, you know, white man speaks forked tongue. You know, and it's not necessarily white man, because it's not just white, is it? Because the blacks, the yellows, all the other colours, mate, doesn't really matter, mate. You know, they're all serving the second master, aren't they? And that's the thing, you can't serve two masters. Well, you know, we can't judge other people. You mustn't judge other people by, you're judging them by yourself, by your own actions. I wouldn't do that, so therefore they wouldn't do that. That's a filet. You know, so you can't, it's not about, you don't judge people by the people, you by their actions, by their deeds, by what the words they're saying. Make them define exactly what it is they're saying, catch them out, because they're not going to be able to define it. They're not going to be able to define it because they can't define it, because if they define it, or find out, give you the finite meaning of exactly what it is they're saying, that doesn't leave them the trickery. You remove their ability to deceive you. They live by deception. That's what they are. Satan. That's how Satan works, and all his little advocates. You know, county councils have a lot to answer for. Yet another corporation to screw us over. It's all corporations, isn't it? And the master corporation, which was the Queen's. This is realistically all it is. And that's realistically, you know, going back to the 1666 SQV Trust, going back, you know, all the way further, really, about, you know, we're all born equal, yeah. Only some more equal than others, and the only difference between the some that are more equal than others, it's not in anything other than the knowledge. You know, and unfortunately that knowledge got gifted to certain elite, and then they said, no, it's good, we should teach this across the globe to all the people. And then those dirty little scumbags, the ones that don't want you to thrive, because, you know, they're the chosen ones, aren't they? These chosen ones that like slaves, that like people doing their work for them, that don't want to work, they just want to just cream you, just want to farm you, so they don't want to educate you. You know, when you go back to look how they said where man came from and all this lot, and they said about the Anunnaki and how they captured the Neanderthal or the Bigfoot, and then they spliced it with their own genes because the Neanderthal couldn't be tamed. So they couldn't tame it. It was, well, they were saying it was too thick to know what it was doing. I would put it down to more like couldn't be tamed, because it was wild. We are wild, guys, and we must stay wild, but with that honourable, loving heart within inside us, because that's what separates us from the animal world, yeah? Being humane, yeah? Because animals don't have any, well, I say that, yes they do, for their own. And realistically, you know, I suppose that's what we need to be, because, you know, but unfortunately we don't have infiltrators in the human race that have got no empathy for their fellow brothers and sisters, like you say, because they're lazy. They're lazy, they're very clever at magic, trickery, how to deceive people, you know. We can all do it. We could all deceive people, couldn't we? It's a big club, and we ain't in it. Yeah, well, their club's over, isn't it now? I would say, with a great help to the internet, and a massive help for the people that didn't stay a victim. You know, those people out there that you know, that have helped me see what was. Where I was going wrong, where they've been trying to do all this. I mean, David Wynn Miller's got to be one of the top ones, really, when you realise what they've done with the language. Then you've got the Baron David Ward showing you with what they did with the fiction, because remember, the Baron David Ward, he won his case as the fiction. Well, not him as the fiction, but he won it with his fiction, because it was the Mr. Baron David Ward that won his case and got his case no contest. Because it was the Mr. David Ward, or should I say, it was David, who was the Attorney General of his legal fiction, his legal embodiment, sorry. So David, you know, you can all be your own lawyer, guys. Your own Attorney General of your legal fiction, take it in that way, which is what he did. But unfortunately, we're still in that world, and there's not enough people like that. So it is the definite way, because there is no law. There's only the assumption and presumptions of law, and we only have to rebut those things. And this is the thing, you know, about this this consent, because the consent has to be they have to have the consent off you, and you have to understand what consent means, and not to tacitly agree it by acquiescing it. And as the Baron David Ward quite ruthlessly made it very clear, you come at him, he will come at you tenfold back, because he will remain in honour. And that's what he did. Like, so, you know, any policeman coming to make a claim against him under a such and such act or legislation was malfeasance in office, because none of them can prove the claim that he has ever given that consent. And his affidavit more than proved that, not only by acquiescence from the Queen, from the Crown, through royal assent, because they acquiesced on it, as with the courts. You also had the 657 MPs that acquiesced to it by failing to rebut it. So none of the English people are governed. In fact, none of the people of the world are governed. And the only reason why you're governed, or should I say controlled, is because you're not in full control of your own minds. And if you're not controlling your mind, you got it, somebody else is. And that's the way it is. And you're all under, well, not all, but the vast majority of the human race is under a spell, because it was all down to words. And not understanding the true meanings, the original meanings of the words. Because if you don't know what a person is, then you're hindered. If you don't know the real meanings of the words, if you don't understand that the courts don't speak English, or Greek, or French, the courts use a different language, as you should all know. And that dictionary gives different meanings to the words that you was indoctrinated with at your schools. Yet that was the education that was gifted to us all, eh? And that is part of the illusion. You know, you teach somebody, you know, it's like colourblind. It's like somebody that's colourblind. What's red to one is green to somebody else, eh? They're called colourblind, yeah. Yet the lawyers and the barristers and the Bar Association are all coming from the Black's Law, speaking legalese. They're dirty about it. They know. They know full well that their loyalty is to the judge, number one. They know there's nothing that they can do for you, because they can't represent you as a man. They can only represent the fiction. So you have no courts. Until we get courts back, we've got no courts. And until we hold those courts to account, those courts will do what they want. So, you know, every case that I've looked into, isn't a court case. Every case that I've looked into is what it is. And it's just one corporation taking another corporation on, and hence the illusion. And nothing's on record, because no information's been laid in front of the court. Not unless it's a normal Joe Bloggs person taking a normal Joe Bloggs person, then the courts will accept it, because you know, it's like anything, isn't it? Everything's been infiltrated, and we have to, as men and women of this country, we've got to stand up, and we've got to, you know, we're the ones that have got to do this. We're the ones that have got to hold these to account and stop them. Because the sooner we do, the sooner we're going to get justice back. And justice will be soon to be done. Say justice, actually, because justice is no speak title, yeah? So what's just and right and righteous will be done. going to happen when the people stand together, and they're not going to stand together until they are understanding exactly what's been going down. Schooling is the programming controlled worldwide by Jesuits. Yep. Always comes down to these same people. No, I'm not religious, but I would say Jesus was right when he said them Jews that called themselves Jews, but they're not Jews, they're the synagogue of Satan. I would say he was bang on. A lot of other things that was said that he said was also bang on, like know the truth and I'll set you free, and about your name. Yes, Philly, about your name. You know, it's not rocket science to look into the dictionary, to the Bible, and to see that Jesus didn't have a surname, and nor did his apostles. So, you know, and then he said that, you know, in my name only, meaning the Christian name. So, you know, it's down to the men to stand up and stop, you know, either do like the Baron's done and be the Attorney General of your legal embodiment. Andrew, I was listening to something earlier, and the man that done a podcast said this could have been stopped 2012, but didn't say how around the time of the Olympics. No, I'm not too sure on this ends from what I'm seeing. There's many people that have ended it. There's many people that have just gone into the public, and a lot of people will not be affected by this corona period in the sense as any damage will ever come to them or their family, because they've understood. You know, however, you know, for the masses, well, for a start off, you're not going to save the ones. It's you know, I think the division's here now. Really, I think the division's here now. You'll know the ones. You know, you can see the ones that are and which aren't ones are not. Those ones that they've no control of their mind. You know, you can see them. They're walking around with the masks on. They've no control because, you know, no man in the right mind would put a mask on when history dictates to you and tells you the facts that you know, the Spanish flu, it was the masks that caused more damage than the actual disease itself, and that all the people that died were the ones that were vaccinated. And, you know, I mean, I know it's probably not the same for the people that are not on the internet or on social media, where people like, you know, other people like myself and other people are putting that information out where it, you know, it's irrefutable really about the facts of what's actually going down, because none of that will come on the mainstream media. So those people that are fixated to that, you know, have all been told to tell it. You know, they've been told the vision. That's why they, in their minds, they can't get it. They can't see a different, an alternative picture, because they've programmed themselves. I mean, I don't see no man going around there forcing an injection into someone. I don't see any man going around there forcing them to sit down and turn the television on. They did it themselves, and ultimately, that's realistically what happens. You know, you can't mess with free will. You cannot mess with free will. All you can do is suggest, and the dark side suggests one thing, and the good people try to suggest one thing. But either way, we're sowing seeds, and it depends on where those seeds are landing, isn't it? So ultimately, nature's cruel, guys, isn't it? Nature's cruel, you know. And over the next coming years, you know, it's going to be very revealing, you know. And as always, sadly, you know, the conspiracy theorists is always going to be proven right, because they always are. And the conspiracy theories are the ones, you know, when you stop to think about it, you know. But the people don't. They don't want to stop to think, where does conspiracy theory come from? Because they've got so many disinformationists out there and throwing stuff out there. But ultimately, you know, If you sat down to look yourself in the mirror, you know, you've won. We've all won. Now, this Corona period right now is ended all contracts. This is from now on, and from this point onwards, where we now are the ones to take the choice of who we choose to contract with. We're the ones now that are now going to have the ability to understand that, you know, I have terms and conditions too. I have unalienable rights, and I'm going to express them. You know, and no, you're not. I'm not going to yield, give away my rights. You know, no. And anybody who's going to come make a claim, they better damn well fucking produce the material evidence to substantiate that claim. Because if they're in public office, that's malfeasance, and that's up to life imprisonment. And ultimately, we better adapt to understand exactly how we make our own courts. If we can't make the courts clean, if we can't clean them up, if we can't clean the government up and make it, you know, if they're going to, then we make our own, don't we? We form our own communities. Yes, we will. Yeah. And ultimately, that's what's going to happen. You know, it's inevitable. You can't stop what's in it. You know, it's obvious. It's a wake up that's been. It's exactly. I mean, I've always said, you know, how bad's it got to get? You know, the stuff that I'm always. I go into the big, and I go because I go for the big stuff. I always get looked at as crazy, or, you know, or being too. You know, I brought this. I give solutions. Barons give you solutions. John Manoa gave you all a solution. You know, those solutions were there, but it's like anything. You know, it's the same with the knowledge. The knowledge is useless to you unless you're going to use it, put it into action, get off the porch, so to say, as David Windmiller said to Russell J. Gould. Get off the porch, guy. You know, get out there, use it. You've got this knowledge now. Now go out and you, because practice makes perfect. I mean, if I didn't go in and command that they spoke to me in correct sentence, communication, parsing, syntax, grammar, and show me the act or statute in that language, because all courts, they say it. What language do you prefer? But they're filling the documents in, guys. You're not seeing that. I pointed that out. Do you remember when David Noakes and Linda Thayer? I've just looked at another document here again today that was filled out. Preference of language. It's asking you what language you want to speak in. So it's there. It's in their court documents, you know. So, you know, it's very simple. I mean, with the correct, I mean, they say, oh, it doesn't exist. Fuck you, don't it exist? Get a grip. I'm not interested whether you say it exists or not. I'm not interested when you say it's fucking, but listen, the only people, right, yeah, that don't want correct sentence, switch, communication, parsing, syntax, grammar, as far as I'm concerned, yeah, are people that want to be deceiving or want to be deceptional. But at the same time, like, there's some people that don't want to use it because of what they've got is correct. Well, if it's correct, then correct sentence, switch, and communication, parsing, it's not going to affect you. If you're right and true and just in what you're saying, your volition's going to be down on the paper and we're going to be able to see it. You know? So sad John Manoa contracted with the snakes. Contracted with the snakes? What snakes did John contract with? John never contracted with... Oh, unless you're talking about... Yeah. Unless you're talking about, you know... Yeah, but that's John, you see. John had to be what he was because that's the way John was all about. John was all about the fact of he was never going to break any law. He wasn't there to break any laws, he was there to make laws. And he would never... But that was the point. I mean, the people should have stood up for him. The people should have stood up for him, mate. That was a sad thing on John. But they didn't. Noisy twat. They didn't stand up for him, and you know, it's in it, all for one and one for all, like, you know. It was a flag. It was a world flag for everybody. You know, you're talking about wanting common law, law of the land, and it's not really. Remember, common law is not going to be common. You know, common law can't be common. Not until we've all agreed to it. So, you know, until everybody's agreed to it, there is no such thing as common law. There's the land law, there's the jurisdiction of the land, there's all these other ones, but ultimately, who's gonna if we don't stand together and command it, you know, it's only the people that really know that have got it all, grasped it all. And there are some people that have. But it shouldn't have to be so hard, man. It shouldn't have to be so hard. But I'll tell you, to be truthful, I don't suppose it really would be hard if you was educated at school, as you should be, as everyone should have been, because, you know, when you understand the law is there to protect you. But they didn't want to teach you the law because they didn't want you to be able to protect yourself against the criminals. So that's why they didn't want to teach you. Wait, come here. Mick, come. And the dog wants to go over. He wants to go over to the taverna where I'm going. I better go actually because I'll be getting late myself. I've got work to do. The dish bitch has got to go back to graft. Anyway, guys, under false pretense, he agreed to go with the Viper to the hospital, and yes, well, yeah, he's like us all, mate, isn't he? Yeah, we've all been too fucking trusting. We've all been too trusting, brother. You know, we've all been too trusting, sadly. But, you know, why shouldn't we? You know, we all want the fucking, we all want, you know, that's how the dirty bastards trick us all. That's how all good people are being tricked, because they believe in the people. They come and say, oh, you know, I'm here to help, you know. No, you're not. But anyway, end of the day, yeah, they'll all get their comeuppance, mate, because karma comes round to meet us all. And people become conscious, because I can't fault John. I can see no faults, no human. I can see some of his errors, but no errors in that's hurtful or harmful to the people. And what he did was beyond. What I mean, I was gobsmacked that they took him. But never underestimate, you know, never underestimate your enemy. Never underestimate your enemy, because they're, you know, dirty fucking snakes, isn't they? Anyway, I better go because I've got work. God bless all. Keep smiling. And I'm pretty sure soon I'll be compiling some. I'll be compiling some, so it's irrefutable. You can't miss how they're doing it to us, and how they're taking the children. Because at the end of the day, you know, wouldn't it just be great? Because social services, man, these councils. Talking about pure evil, because they are. They won't all be. I'm sure there must be some good social workers. I mean, because don't forget, you had Carol Woods was a social worker, and there was a good one. So the good ones are probably locked up in prison or been killed. You know, because that's how bad it really is. Anyway, guys, love you, leave you. Take care now. Bye bye for now.